well, there's some of the battle scenes that we've shot, particularly the one in the pilot, took about 2 or 3 days to choreograph, and then about a week to shoot, a week and a half to shoot. So they it's quite sort of complicated because there's just we don't have that sense anymore. You know, warfare is kind of so remote nowadays. This is hand-on-hand combat, and lots of interesting weapons that are used in medieval warfare, like, you know, sort of. You know, there's broadswords, obviously. There's scimitars, which is what the Moors used. There's sort of, you know, lots of daggers, but then you've got things like balls on chains and with spikes, and you know, it was, you know, quite creative actually, and a lot of it, the weaponry comes from, you know, I mean, you probably know about the brutality of this sort of crime and punishment, you know, and the use of torture, which is central to our story. You know, so I imagine a lot of the, you know, tools of torture inspired warfare and vice versa, because I mean, some of the contraptions that are used for torture and for punishing people who have committed sort of minor offences are quite shocking. So I think probably that's where most of the sort of bloodiness and the sort of medieval times having a bad rep as being a particularly bloody time is probably to do more with the torture instruments that were, you know, invented by who. I love the scimitar. I think it's because, you know, it's quite an ingenious sort of piece of technology for the time, really, because on one side it's sharp and on the other side it's blunt. So in that sense, you can use your body in such a way, you know, you can keep it quite close to your body, and it's quite sort of beautiful to watch the sort of, you know, experts kind of use it. But it means that you can use your other arm or hand, or, you know, to give it extra sort of the actual cutting side, the blade, more, it can be more effective. And more surprising. You know, if you're using a broadsword, which is quite sort of, you know, aggressive and random, this is very specific in its sort of deadliness. And so yeah, so I would say the scimitar is definitely, which is Berber's weapon of choice.